I didn't know is like never a legal defense. It's actually one of the first things I learned in law school was I didn't know just never matters.
Hey creators, I have someone I need you to meet. She is a lawyer for content creators, and she's about to blow your mind in this episode of things that creators, especially creators who are treating what they're doing like a business, need to be paying attention to. Don't worry, she's going to scare us a little bit, but she's also going to give us a fantastic, easy to follow to-do list.
Hi, my name is Alexis Cambusi. I'm an attorney representing online businesses, content creators, and influencers. I own Life and Lemons Legal. It is a virtual law firm. I have a background as a litigator. I used to defend small businesses after something had already gone wrong and they found themselves in court, fighting over disputes that very often could have been avoided with proper legal foundations and contracts and generally paying attention to how your business operates on a day-to-day basis. So I decided to go out on my own and represent the new online business owners with, the digital age and all these businesses start as side gigs and then evolve into like full-on enterprises. A lot of those creators and businesses don't have the legal foundation that they usually don't recognize that they need until unfortunately it's too late. So I really want to keep business sweet, not sour, because I don't want you on those courtroom steps because it's really not a fun place to be. I've been to trial. It's not fun for me or for my clients. So I will do anything to keep you out of it because I personally don't want to show up there. So that's the entire basis of my law practice, that I just don't want to go to court selfishly, and I don't want you to go to court either.
Wow. Okay, I'm excited to record this episode, but I'm also like, I don't want to because I'm going to learn about a lot of things that now I'm going to have homework. And you're so right. No, that's so funny. It's like you're the lawyer who doesn't want to go to court. So, like, let's not go.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there and it's not fun, especially when, like, in the beginning, my clients were very often like mom and pop shops who got sued for a contract dispute or a slip and fall. And I would only be called in by their insurance attorney or their insurance company because I was retained by their insurance company to defend them. And then I would get in there after they'd already been served the lawsuit and they already have this ugly demand letter. And I have to say, oh crap. I came in here thinking that we were going to like rip and roar and put our dukes up. But now I'm looking at the legal foundations and I'm like, we should settle. And that's not
You
like
should.
anything that a business wants to hear their attorney say.
Oh my gosh. Oof.
And
Okay.
yeah, so it's important, it matters, it exists. I didn't know is like never a legal defense. It's actually one of the first things I learned in law school was I didn't know just never matters.
No. You might
Yeah.
be able to use that to get out of, like, a speeding ticket, but, I don't know about
Yeah.
I don't know about in the
Those
courtroom.
Yeah, judges, like, they just, like, rip through cases, like, they do not wanna be there. So, like, crying to a judge, like, that judge is just sitting on their ass for, like, 9 hours a day. It's not like a cop who's, like, kind of on patrol and has, like, something going on in their day where they can kind of be persuaded once in a while, depending on the cop. Like, a judge is just like, "I don't wanna be here, I don't care." I mean, that's an oversimplification, but very often, like, you're gonna have less luck saying, "I didn't know," to a judge than you are to a police officer in a speeding ticket.
Yikes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely have some loaded questions here that I
Mhm.
realize are not gonna require simple answers,
Yeah.
but I'll give you, like, 2 options, and we can go in either direction. We can either talk about some of the most common legal mistakes you're seeing creators or business owners making, or if you're like, there's or I would like to talk about both, but whatever you want to first. If there's something that you're like, I need these people to know this information. Like, this is how I feel about like email marketing. I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
understand that you don't understand. And I know that you probably have something there to say as well about this whole world. So I'll let you decide, is there something that you're like, "I need to get on my soapbox and yell about this?" Or we can jump into some of the most common mistakes you see.
We can go soapbox first because I'm
Okay.
like pretty caffeinated. And then
Okay,
that
great.
can maybe like transition into what legal mistakes I'm seeing often because they kind
Wo
of segue into each other.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, my number one thing that I want to yell at like online businesses and creators about is about disclosing FTC disclosures. So, if you are gifted a product, saying I'm gifted this is not enough. You have to say hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, and it has to be before like the dot 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 more because it needs to be glaringly obvious to your consumer that you have a financial incentive or some kind of you're receiving some kind of incentive to promote this product because when you're an influencer or you're a content creator, part of your job is to create trust in your clientele and your audience. And the FTC's, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC's thought is that if you are making money off of building trust, you need to be transparent with your audience about financial incentives behind promoting products. So it's not just enough to say, hey guys, Starbucks gifted me this little cup. You have to say, like, I have a financial incentive to talk to you about this. You don't have to stay in that legalese. It's not boring, but you need to make it apparent to your audience that you have a monetary gain or some kind of gain coming from promoting this product. So very often the gifting is not enough, and it needs to be clear and obvious as soon as you see it. And I know that that's kind of crappy because you guys are like, oh, I don't want to put all this legalese in my content because it kind of dilutes your message, especially if you're like carefree and fun, because you don't want to be like, I'm financially compensated for promoting this.
Yeah.
Like it just like makes you look like a prescription ad. And I understand that, but you can find creative ways to work in to your content that you are being compensated. You can call it a partnership. You can call it an advertisement and find out how to make it fun, but you do need to disclose that. And then same thing with affiliate marketing. If you are an affiliate for a product, you need to make it clear that you are receiving a kickback or some kind of compensation for promoting it. And the problem is that if you are the affiliate that the marketers are marketing for, if they fail to do that, it is on you. You cannot delegate that duty. And it's like a $50,000 fine per violation. So if you are a company and you have affiliate marketers doing your marketing and saying, hey, join this, get this product, yada, 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 every time they fail to do that can be attributed to you and you can't delegate that duty back to them. So those $50,000 fines stack up real quick. So if you have a community or if you have a product and you want people to affiliate market for it, you need to let them know that if they fail to disclose that they will receive a kickback, that you will terminate their relationship because at the end of the day, the FTC is going to go after you, the company, and the affiliate marketer, but the violations stack up against the company. So it's generally a good idea to let people know that you are receiving financial compensation for promoting anything.
Holy cow. Okay. This is
Mhm,
so interesting because I do UGC content, and when I
mhm,
am pitching, all the time, brands just wanna hand out their affiliate links like it's anybody's business, and I rarely, unless I'm not paying attention, come across like, okay, if I usually don't take on just I'm like, "I'm not interested in just getting your affiliate money, it's just not a part of
mhm,
an income stream I really want right now." But if I do and I go to their thing and I sign up, I never see language that I think they should put there that's like copy and paste. Like, okay, you're signing up for this
mhm,
affiliate link. They share all the info on like how you're going to earn, how to access your earnings, blah blah blah. But I feel like there should just be it would be so easy to put in a copy and paste of like you have to include this by the way. Literally copy and paste
mhm.
this and an asterisk and then it saves their butts. That's
It would be
crazy.
nice. Yeah, you would think that they would have a motivation to do that. But I do remember like Scott Disick, like 10 years ago, posted like just copied and pasted an email where a company actually did do that. They said, okay, put this exact caption, and it included the affiliate disclosure or whatever legalese he needed to include it. But he just like copied the entire email into the caption. This was like 2016, like when we were all still stupid. So, like, sometimes the more sophisticated companies are doing that. But keep in mind, a lot of these brands that content creators are collaborating with are also really new. So, they probably don't have in house counsel reviewing all these contracts. And there's a good chance that whoever's making the contracts just is not a lawyer, doesn't have a legal background. So, you can't rely on the brand to do you any favors, even if they have a motivation to make sure they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's, because at the end of the day, some of these brands are just so new and they don't have that level of sophistication that you can't just bet that they're doing everything right. You have to also do your due diligence, which
Mm-hmm.
is tough, especially if you're a brand new creator. It's very intimidating to say, okay, what do I need to do to protect myself, but to also do the due diligence for the brand. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it is the world we live in. Because, like I said, the law doesn't have a defense of I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
definitely,
annoying.
yeah, and that's why there are a lot of attorneys who are kind of getting into this marketplace, because we recognize that this is a new field of business. I mean, some attorneys and content creators just went to Capitol Hill a couple of months ago and testified before Congress on behalf of the creator economy, talking about the protections that the creator economy needs and how the law needs to change to accommodate it, because it is brand new. But with that testimony is going to come more oversight from the government to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you want these things from us, let's dive into it and see what you guys are doing. So now I would assume, I would project that the government is going to be paying more attention to the creator economy, because the creator economy has been asking for help. So if we want help, we need to be doing our best to comply.
Got to shape up. Now's the time.
Yeah.
They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say like Big Brother's watching and the government's coming from you,
Oh,
but
please. They
like
are.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
if you want to
Okay.
operate a business, you have to do it within the bounds of the law. Sorry.
Totally. Okay, this is really interesting. Do you think it's acceptable for, like, let's say I am a creator, a business owner, and somebody I know has created a course and they have given me an affiliate link for their product.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I share that, is it okay to I literally put like an asterisk when I share things like this, and I'm like, this is an affiliate link. I may receive compensation from this at no cost to you. Like, does it have to be very specific language, or can we kind of pick and choose the words that we say to make it? I guess maybe the answer is we just need to make it clear that we could receive money from this. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah. You need to make it clear that you have a financial motivation for making the recommendation. There's not necessarily, I mean, there is golden language that is preferred, which is pretty much exactly what you said. But
Okay.
you can do it in a way that's not going to sound so gimmicky. But at the end of the day, the consumer needs to be on reasonably put on notice that you are receiving that financial compensation or some other kind of compensation. It doesn't just need to be money. It can be in
Mm,
kind. Like you can be receiving products for promoting it. You can receive access to this course. I mean, I know that there are some communities where if you bring in a person, you get that month into the community for free or something like that. So it doesn't just need to be monetary compensation. It can be in kind. But at the end of the day, you have some motivation for promoting it, and a consumer needs to know that before making a decision. Because, like I said, influencers and content creators create this like quasi relationship with their audience, where the audience feels like they know us or they know you guys, and you don't want to unduly capitalize on that trust. And that's the government's point of view on it.
One thing I talk a lot about on this show is making your content work for you even when you're not working. And that's exactly why I love Travel Payouts. So it's an all-in-one affiliate platform built specifically for travel creators. There are 90 brands and counting on the platform, places like booking.com, Get Your Guide, Viator, and they're all in one dashboard. But the thing I want to tell you about is that they have this tool called Drive. So it's an AI powered tool and it runs in the background and analyzes your content and automatically places affiliate links and widgets in your content where your audience is most likely to click and book. This includes past content you wrote maybe 2 years ago and you forgot about it. You don't have to touch anything, you just let Drive handle it. It is free to sign up for Travel Payouts. It takes 2 minutes to set up, and you can get a bonus of up to $100 when you register through the link in the show notes. So interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Besides affiliate links, what are you seeing that these creators and business owners are doing wrong? Or maybe you visit some business owners and creators' websites or social media or platforms and you see like glaring issues. What's going on? What are we doing wrong? Where can we steer into the clear?
Yeah. So, like, whenever I go on any website, I don't care if you're a big mega corporation or a small creator. The first thing I do, just out of rote memory at this point, is scroll all the way to the footer and see if there's a privacy policy and a terms of use. And I cannot tell you how often I see none, or I do see the link and it's just a broken, it goes to a 404 or something like that. And if you are a website or even just like an email list and you are collecting user information, so names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, any payment information, you are legally required to have a privacy policy that tells people how you are collecting their data. There are two really important overarching laws. I mean, it's going to be state specific, which is kind of tough as an online creator. But the California law, the CCPA, is kind of the gold standard within the US because the idea isn't if you are operating in California, it's if somebody in California is accessing your website. And then the GDPR is in the European Union. If you are an online business owner in like Wyoming, if somebody in the UK is accessing your website, you need to be GDPR compliant. Same thing, if you're in Wyoming and somebody in California is accessing your website, you need to be CCPA compliant. And what that basically means is that you put them on notice on how you are collecting the data, what third-party websites or tools you're using to collect and store data, how they can opt out of it. You need to make sure that you're not collecting data of people under certain ages, and that they do have an affirmative option to say, hey, stop collecting my data, delete it. There needs to be an email address that they can actually contact. It's not just this copy and paste language that you can go on another website's privacy policy and copy and paste, because however they collect data is not going to be how you collect data. So it needs to be tailored to your actual online business in your day-to-day dealings.
Okay. I think one thing that blew my mind from this conversation with Alexis, particularly about privacy policies and terms of use, is that they are working documents. I think in my head, I've always thought legal is very black and white, which is true, but it's also very concrete, which in some ways is true. But she kind of broke my brain a little bit that it should be working, living, breathing, changeable documents that we have on our websites. This is so interesting because now that like when I set up my privacy policy, I wasn't using a specific like tool. And now like I'm using like Airtable to that is inputting where I'm storing some data. And so that's really interesting to keep in mind like as you think about what tools and softwares and websites you are using to house data, you need to go to your privacy policy and update that.
Yep, it is a living document. You don't just set it and forget it. I mean, all of legal is living. It grows with your business. Like you don't just set up your LLC and then say, I'm legally compliant. I never have to do a single thing again, which is
I
a
wish.
whole other story in itself. Like your duty, it's the cost of business. We hear that all the time, that it's the cost of doing business. One of the costs of doing business is making sure that you are legally compliant on a day-to-day ongoing basis. I mean, you don't
I
have to
know.
spend your entire life dreading if you're compliant, but you need to be updating the front facing documents at minimum.
Okay, so interesting. I think people are just like, let's just go find this terms and condition, privacy policy, blah, 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 slap it in there. But it's actually way more nuanced than we realize. This is breaking my brain. Okay.
Yeah, it's sometimes it breaks my brain too. I do a lot of just research and making sure that I'm staying up to date. And even, as a practicing attorney, I'm like, oh God, let me double check that I understand this. And I workshop with other attorneys and say, hey, there's a new change. Do I understand this correctly? And then we'll sit there and dredge it out for sometimes hours. And then we'll say, let's call a professor. And then the professor will say, oh, I don't know. This is new. We have to do our research. So it's even the professionals are confused sometimes. So I
Okay.
get why the day-to-day layman is like, what am I supposed to do? Sometimes I don't know with certainty until there's a court ruling on it. So
Yeah.
it's living, it's breathing, it's evolving. It's not it's mutable.
Okay, where are you like, the places that you are looking to hear about new changes in, like, the online or business owner space, if we went to those websites as people who are not attorneys and cannot understand this language, would we be able to read these things and kind of understand, or is this really above our heads?
I wouldn't say it's above your head because I don't think that a lot of attorneys are going to hate me for saying this. You don't need to be a genius to be a lawyer. You really don't. It is a very regimented area of study where we go through the process for 3 years and then we start practicing. It doesn't take a genius to be able to figure this out, but what it does take is the education and the time to learn it. So
Yeah.
if an online business owner or content creator is really dedicated to sitting down and learning it, you can absolutely learn it. The question is whether or not you're going to be able to defend yourself in court if you get it wrong. That's totally different. I would never recommend defending yourself in court when you mess up. But if you're wanting to learn your duties, you can absolutely go on, the government agency websites, the FTC, and see what your duties are for disclosing affiliate links. It's going to hyperlink you all over the world and go show you the different regulations and the rules and the laws. And then if you want to learn the difference between codified law or administrative law or regulatory law, you're absolutely welcome to. I bet that if you're smart enough to make an online business, you can sit down and figure it out, but it might take a lot longer than just calling an attorney and then having them say what the answer is.
Yeah. Yeah, it reaches a point where it's like, this is not my zone of genius, nor do I enjoy doing this. Let's get Alexis to do it who knows what the heck she's doing because
Yeah,
no.
just like I'm not good at email marketing and I plan to have you do it. I could figure it out on my own if I locked myself away for 80 hours a week for about a month and a half, and I might be mediocre at it, but I'd rather hire it out. And that's one of the beauties of growing and scaling a business is that
Mhm.
you allow yourself to do your zone of genius to grow and scale the business, and you delegate out the work that you either don't want to do or are not qualified to do so that you can just continue doing what you're good at. And in my mind, legal is a highly specialized thing that you're required to do, so it makes sense to delegate that out to an attorney, just like I would delegate out accounting to my bookkeeper and my accountant and my CPA. I could figure it out, but I really don't want to do that because I'd rather continue being the lawyer.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, forget it. We're not reading anything. We're just declaring that yeah, never mind. I'm not even gonna Google it. I no, forget
I
it.
got faith in you. Just whether you want to do it is a different task.
Totally, totally. I'm afraid of what I'm gonna find, really. Um, okay, well, we can talk about contracts. I know there are creators out there who take on work without contracts, which is crazy pants. But What red flags should creators be looking for in contracts before signing them? If this is not interesting topic to you, then we can totally skip this, but I'm just
No,
thinking about the creator world.
it's really important. So, DMs technically can create a binding contract. All right. And I know that a lot of people are like, DMs are not a contract. If there is an offer acceptance and then there's an exchange of value called consideration, then it's technically a contract. Now, the next step is
Alexis,
what?
that's crazy. Oh my gosh.
But
Okay,
this is the thing though. All that is enforceable are those words in the DMs. So, okay, make a video. What is the video? What's the deliverable? How long does it have to be? When do you have to deliver it? What kind of things do you need to put in that video? When are you going to get paid? What are you going to get paid in? How many, like, those are the things that you need to be contemplating, and those are reduced to writing in an actual contract, an actual agreement that the brand is going to send you. Keep in mind that that brand, assuming that there's a level of sophistication where they have an in-house attorney or they've just not gone Claude and ChatGPT, that contract is going to be one-sided because that brand's prerogative is to get the best deal possible out of you. So they're very often going to have unlimited usage rights in perpetuity. So whether you're like doing UGC or you're doing a brand deal, you can I recently saw a contract that basically says not only do we get to use your face, your voice, and your likeness, but we get access to the entirety of your social media to do online or AI training. And I was like,
no
what?
fucking way.
Yeah, this is separate than a deliverable to promote a brand. They wanted an un they wanted an unlimited exclusive license to the existing content on the person's social media page. So that means that if you were in high school in 2008 and you had a Facebook at the point and you posted a picture of you and your grandma at Thanksgiving dinner, they could use that because they had a license to train it for AI. Like, that is not a fair deal. Like,
That
it,
makes me wanna punch somebody.
yeah. And when I read that, I actually read it like 10 times because I was beside myself. I couldn't believe that that was actually in the contract. Those are the kinds of things where if you don't have the proper training, you're not doing this day to day, you might read that and just say, oh, okay, they want to use the post that I make to train AI. But in reality, it's a license to all of your content that is reasonably discoverable on the web. I mean, I had a Twitter account back when it was called Twitter. Like, I don't want you training based off of that. I don't want you training based off of the photos that I posted at my baby shower before my daughter was born. Like, I that's not something that I agree to. So these contracts are incredibly one-sided, and unless you have the knowledge, you probably don't recognize just how one-sided they are. So sometimes they can use your face, voice, likeness forever on any platform in any market without paying you again. So you can always try and negotiate the time limit and the scope and the platform that they're performing on.
You know
Um,
what? I think we should be baristas. I think that we should just give it up. I think that it's over.
it's not, I promise. Like, that there are a lot of attorneys. I'm not the only attorney doing this. Like, I'm not the only attorney in the game. There are a lot of attorneys who have left really good paying jobs to transition into this market because we're getting in basically at the beginning. Like, you get in low and you sell high basically. But there is a need for it, and we
Yeah.
recognize that because it is such a green market. So no, don't become a barista. Be here at the beginning and grow with
Yeah.
us, because the attorneys who are getting in on this are counting on it growing. And that's because you guys aren't going to go back and become baristas. You guys are creating these thriving online businesses, and we want to help you do that.
Okay, fine. Fine. Maybe
No, don't.
tomorrow.
Yeah, don't become a barista. I mean, if it's your passion, go for it. I mean, I say trademark your spark because I want you to do whatever your spark is. So
Oh.
if you love being a barista, go do it. But don't do it because you feel like you can't like make it online.
Oh, yeah, no. We're already making it. We're just doing it. Okay. This makes it seem like these contracts are a lot. And it's totally true that they can be. And I love that Alexis brought up the point that most of the time when you are a creator and you're receiving a contract, it is definitely one sided and it's not in your favor. So, this is why I actually read every single word of every contract before I sign it because I want to know. I don't want to be burned in 6 months by something that I didn't realize was in there. So, I always do a little command F and I search for like perpetual usage or in perpetuity in these documents so that it will flag any of that. But either way, make sure you actually read the damn thing. If you want to learn more about UGC, I have a couple of episodes for you here. If you're listening in Spotify and you go to the show, you can actually search within the show and you can search UGC, or you can search the name Maddie Garrett, who is my dear friend and resident UGC expert over here. She also has a fantastic podcast and community. Her podcast is called Paid to Travel. She teaches you how to build UGC, and her amazing community for intermediate to advanced UGC creators is called Basecamp, and I highly, highly recommend. Okay, so if a creator or business owner is incredibly smart and they're like, I know the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open my business and I'm not going to go hunting for fonts, logos, and colors. I'm actually going to think about my legality here. What should we be doing? Where does somebody start when they're like, I'm going to do this right? What do they need to do?
Okay, so I think that even if you haven't made a dollar yet, you need to make a business entity because a business entity, whether it be an LLC or a corporation or a partnership, I typically just say an LLC. And this is state specific, obviously. I'm only licensed in Florida, whatever your entity in your state is. But you need to make a separate entity that you were doing your business dealings under because that is what helps insulate you from personal liability and keeps your personal assets from being exposed if there is a judgment entered against you in a lawsuit. And I know that you're like, okay, what the hell does that even mean? It means that if you make a claim online and somebody sues you for unfair and deceptive trade practices, or they say, oh, you promised this outcome and it caused me to not only get that outcome, but then I went into a deep depression and my family fell apart and my husband left me and now I have to share my children 50-50. Like that is what is going to insulate you from being personally liable for those claims, however frivolous they may be, from it being your personal liability versus the liability of your business. Because if you are conducting yourself as a business, all that they are ever going to be able to get in a judgment is your business assets. Of course, there are lots of things that you need to do after making your LLC to ensure that that business entity is preserved. But the very baseline is making an LLC, having an operating agreement, and then opening up a business bank account. Like all of those that money that you're making in brand deals, collaborations, payouts from people buying digital products from you, your course, whatever, if that is going directly into your personal bank account is going to be up for grabs in a judgment. So you need everything to go into a business bank account.
Crazy. It's
Yes,
crazy.
yes. And then the
Crazy.
other big thing that I would say, and this is actually like one of my favorite parts of representing content creators and online businesses. I just don't always say it's the most important thing because it's not the foundation. But if you are creating a business, a brand identity, you need to make sure that that brand name is not already taken by somebody else. Because if you start doing business and you have a brand, you could be infringing on somebody else's IP, their trademark. And if you infringe on it, They can force you to rebrand, which means you are out all of that money that you paid a graphic designer for your branding and your website. You are out all of the money that you are going to have to spend redoing it. And then they absolutely can disgorge you of funds that you received while using their trademark. So if you make $100,000 using
That's
their
crazy.
brand name, they can take that from you.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah. So I always say if you are serious about doing business and you really love a brand name, at the minimum, do a brand clearance search with an attorney. You don't even have to always get the trademark right then and there. I understand it's a legal expense, but at the minimum, make sure that you are not committing trademark infringement. If you don't want a trademark right off the bat, like that's your own business, but the bare minimum is making sure that you're not infringing on somebody else's. And let me tell you a story. I just had a client come to me. They've been in business since early 2000 and they want to get a trademark. And they've been kind of flying under the radar because they're a very small local company, but they're trying to expand nationally and expand their outreach. And I found out that they have been using another company's brand name that has been registered with USPTO since the 80s. So they have been committing trademark infringement for 20 something years at this point.
What do you
And
do? What do you do?
so there are a lot of different ways to go about this. One of them could be a rebrand, but you know, imagine you've been doing business for all these years, you have brand loyalty. You
Yeah.
have people who recognize you. You've put so much money into maintaining this branding, and then you're going to have to scrap it, hope that you don't lose the trust of your audience, undergo the actual fixed costs of the rebrand, like the graphic designer, the publishing, the product, all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to have to go ahead and get a trademark for that new brand. Or you can approach the other company and say, like, hey, we
Hey,
want to
just
use
came
this.
across your name for the first time yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah. Which I don't recommend doing this, by the way. This is like not the best thing to do, but you can try to enter into a coexistence agreement where you say, hey, we'll stay in our lane, you stay in yours, and we won't overlap and we won't have an encroachment on your consumer base. And but they would have to agree to that. And they could absolutely tell you to go kick rocks and then still sue you.
Cool, cool.
So
Seems
yeah, so
risky.
like
This option seems risky.
yeah, so I mean, like it's an option. There are other ways you can go about it that are more nuanced and strategic, but those are the two glaringly obvious strategies that you could go apart. But at the end of the day, you're still at a defensive decision. You're in a deficit because you are reacting to a situation that you have dug yourself into for the last 20 years or however long, if you're a different business, you've been using the brand name. So you need to make sure before you invest like any money. I mean, like Alex did my branding at Scribbled Sage. Before I paid her a dime, I had already applied for my trademark because I didn't want to find out that I was going to have to rebrand and then be like, hey, girl, I know we spent like 4 months together coming up with this awesome branding concept, but we need to change it. And then I'm going to be out the same amount of money again. So I effectively would have doubled my startup costs
Oh my
because of a
gosh.
rebrand. Yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah.
was this client when you were like, "Hey guys, I have some news." Were they shocked?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't get into it too much, but like,
No, yeah.
yeah, it
Oh
was
man.
not, they weren't happy. And I was like, well, thank God this other company hasn't found out.
Wowee, wowee, wowee. Okay, so let's pretend someone is starting they're starting an LLC. They've already been making money online and they're like, "Uh-oh, let's get this correct." Where should they go to search and make sure that nobody has the name they're thinking of?
So you can go on the United States Patent and Trademark Office's website and do what is called a test search. And it's kind of the absolute bare minimum you should do, but it's not the legal standard. So that's really important. You can do a knockout search, which is where you put in the name of your brand and you see if a word for word, same exact company in your international class comes out. But it's really important to keep in mind that that search is not going to be legally sufficient because the legal standard is if it is confusingly similar. And what that means is if it's phonetically sounding the same, if it looks the same, like when consumers look at it, if the letters kind of just like bring to mind another name, or if it just has a very similar commercial impression, like that is going to be the standard. So if you um, put into test Starbucks with a X instead of CKS, there's a chance that Starbucks like might not show up, and you would be under the false impression like, oh, I can do Starbucks with an X, and then you would apply. Not only have the USPTO reject your application, but then you run the chance of Starbucks saying, no, that is trademark infringement. We're going to sue you. So going on the USPTO website is kind of the first step to get an idea, but it's never going to be the legal standard unless you sit there for days and think about every iteration and really expand your idea of what the commercial impression is. Because it's not just what you think, it's what the reasonable everyday consumer is going to think. And
Mm.
you have no idea what an everyday person is going to think. So that is where, after you do that initial knockout search, it's probably a good idea to get with a trademark attorney and have them run a comprehensive clearance search because we have access to third party tools. I recently did a clearance search and 5,000 pages worth of results came up because it pulls not only federally registered trademarks, but state filings for LLCs, partnerships, corporations across the United States. It looks at social media. It looks at Google results. It has a better chance of finding some small mom and pop shop in, like, I don't know, Utah that is already using the name that you're not going to find on the USPTO website. Because if somebody has a common law trademark right, that's going to bar you from having exclusive use of that name, and you would have to ostensibly have a carve out for your trademark rights. So the attorneys are going to be able to run this comprehensive search, and then we also interpret it. I mean, it's not like it's just this ledger full of things and we say, okay, these are the results. We're doing a legal analysis to determine what the likelihood of you having a registration issue or a lawsuit issue is. And then we create an opinion letter and say, hey, red light, yellow light, green light. Sometimes that yellow light is like orange. And I say, please, for
Mm.
the love of God, don't do this. I think that you're going to get sued if you do it, which I recently had to do. I had to tell a content creator who had like 200,000 followers and was selling digital downloads that even though somebody didn't have a registered trademark, this certain somebody was powerful enough and they had claimed it as an unregistered trademark on their terms of use. I was like, this other creator takes this name really seriously, even though it's not a federally registered trademark. There's a really good chance that she has deeper pockets and could sue you. And my content creator client with over 200,000 followers was like, I need to do a rebrand. And I was like, yes, girl, sorry.
Um, Interesting because it takes into account more. It's also like context. Like you did that research to find that context that, like, okay, this other creator who might have something similar could have the
Mm-hmm.
power or budget to go after you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, that's really interesting. What
Yeah,
is an
like this. Oh, go
unregistered
ahead.
trademark?
So when you start using a name in commerce, you have what is called common law trademark rights. It happens as soon as you start using it and you start using it in commerce. But the problem with common law trademarks is that they are limited in enforceability to a certain geographic locale where you are
Mm,
operating and doing business. But the problem with us doing business online, like I said, if you are in Wyoming and somebody is accessing your content in California, arguably you are doing business in California. If you are doing business online, you are accessible everywhere. So if somebody has a common law trademark in Wyoming and I'm in Florida and I am using, okay, I have a trademark for this. Like I registered a trademark for Trademark Your Spark. That is my brand offering, or that is my trademark offering. If somebody in Wyoming started in like 1985 doing trademark services under Trademark Your Spark, even though I have a federally registered trademark, they could try to say that my trademark at least should have a carve out for Wyoming and that there should be limited rights because they have that common law trademark that is senior to my trademark rights. And that even though I have a federally registered trademark, there should be a carve out and I should either have it canceled or not enforce it in Wyoming in that small geographic area. So that is why a common law trademark, even if it's not registered, it really does matter. Going on the USPTO website is only going to tell you what trademarks
Okay.
are registered. So if there's somebody in
Interesting.
BFP, like they're going to have a senior right, and then they can still come after you just for using it where they're using it.
Oh my God, this is exhausting.
It
Wow.
is. It really is. Which is why I always have to tell clients, like, they're like, oh, no, it wasn't on the site. I saw, I looked, I did the search and it didn't exist. I'm like, yeah, that is like step one of 50 of the
Yeah.
analysis. And it's, I mean, I went a couple $100,000 in debt in law school to learn this stuff. Please, for the love of God, trust me.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Um, wow, wow. This is crazy. I feel like I've learned so much. Wow. I'm hung up on the privacy policy. That is so exciting. I can't wait to go update mine immediately with the
Mhm.
things that I am using recently because you don't think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I
Um,
recently just like started I started my email marketing. So I'm like, oh, I need to update it to say that Kit is receiving the user information. And then I'm starting to get, what is it, Dubsabo. I'm like, okay, now I'm
mhm.
going to have to let them know, even though I haven't linked it yet, that Dubsabo is going to be receiving that. Like that's the kind of thing you need to keep in mind on a day-to-day basis as you're updating your business.
Wow. Okay, yeah, is there anything like yearly or like a minimum 6 months or yearly, or maybe that's really bad lawyer advice, to that we should definitely be updating as creators and online business owners?
Definitely your privacy policy, like we just said, your terms of use too. So your terms of use are the contract that your users implicitly agree to by just using your website.
Mhm.
So you want to make sure that that terms of use updates all of the intellectual property assets that you have on your website. Because if you are not explicitly listing something that you do not want to give a license for using, there's an argument. Whether or not this is an enforceable argument is a different discussion, but there is at least an argument that it was not meant when you made those terms of service. Because if your terms of service was made in 2023 and you updated your website in 2025, does it apply to all the assets in 2025? I don't know. That's something we would have to litigate. Also, your terms of purchase, whenever you have a digital download, you need to make sure that you are updating all of the assets in that terms of purchase, making sure that your refund policy is up to date, your chargeback policy is up to date. Whatever you are doing in your business needs to be reflected in all of your client and user facing agreements. So, your terms of purchase, your terms of use, your downloadable policy, your refund policy, everything that your clients or your audience can access needs to reflect what you are actually doing in your business. Um, I would also recommend getting with your accountant at least once a year to make sure that however you are operating is going to be tax efficient, but also that it is in line with what your corporate or your LLC structure is. Because, like I said, just having an LLC is not going to be enough. If you do get sued, the courts are going to look to see if something called the corporate veil can be pierced. And basically, what they're doing is they're seeing if this business structure is essentially just a sham, and they can pierce through that to get to your personal assets for personal liability. So you need to make sure that if you have an LLC, generally speaking, that you have an operating agreement that reflects how you do business, that you maintain that business bank account, that you are doing the corporate or LLC formalities to keep that business entity intact. And I would recommend doing that at least annually.
Wow, I feel like I've gone to school um in this episode.
Yep.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wowie. No, this
Mhm.
is really good. It's just like, okay. Uh-oh. Okay, now that someone's listening to this and they're freaking out, where can they find you? Where can we
Um,
find you on the internet?
Yeah, my website is www.lifeandlemonslegal.com. And I am on Instagram both as AB Campisi, ABCAMPISI, and at Life and Lemons Legal.
Yay, we'll definitely have them linked down below so that people can see what you are sharing about and make sure to connect with you because you are the only lawyer I know serving content creators right now, and the people need you bad. They're bad.
I
Um,
agree.
yeah, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I feel like if I were you, if I was an attorney in the legal space, I think I'd have a crazy journal. I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, this is what I saw today. I can't even believe it. These people are so crazy. They won't even update their their
You
privacy
know,
policies."
it's really easy to get frustrated about it, but at the end of the day, like I don't have a marketing brain. So when you or somebody else who's really good at branding and marketing sees what I'm doing, you guys are probably like, "Oh my gosh." But I don't know any better because I just don't have that kind of brain. You have to keep in mind, like, my dad was a lawyer. I wrote my first contract at 6 years old to be able to use my older brother and sister's Nintendo. So this is something. Oh yeah, girl, he redlined it too. Like I wrote the contract and he was like, how long do you get to use it? Do you get to use it uninterrupted? What chores do you have to do? Okay, what kind of chores? What is the level of satisfaction for mopping the floor? How many of the floors are you going to mop? How many rooms are you going to mop? Do you have to get a quality check? Okay, what happens if you mop the floor and I don't think it's good enough? Then do you get to play Nintendo still? Like those are the types of things that have been running through my brain since I was 6 years old. So I have to keep that in mind. I don't look at content creators or online businesses and be like, oh my God, don't they know any better? I know you don't because you guys didn't like forge yourself in this. Just like I didn't forge myself in learning how to do content creation. Everybody has their strengths. Everybody has like their background that gave them that knowledge. So like just you have to be kind to each other is how I think of it.
You're
Yeah,
right. You're
like
right.
I give you guys the grace. I hope that you guys give me a grace and like don't look at my content and be like, oh
Oh
my
my
God,
gosh,
she's so
yeah.
cringy.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not cringy. It's not cringy. Okay, this is amazing. Wow. I feel like I'm gonna poll my audience and be like, what other things do you have questions? Because you need to go ask Alexis and you need to, I just feel like we could do a million more episodes on these things. This is crazy. And I think it just gets
Could
more and
talk all
more
day.
nuanced the farther you go. And
Hmm.
the tricky part is that this is like new. And as you said, things are changing that you have to then go and learn and understand, but they're
Yeah,
happening
like
so fast.
the legal framework for nearly all of this has existed for a long time, but how it is applied to the digital age and content creators is brand new. So, like, attorneys are constantly reading, interpreting the laws, and be like, okay, does this apply to this situation? I don't know. I mean, one of Florida's laws was promulgated in like 2008. And I'm like, what was a content creator in 2008? Tila Tequila? Like, I don't remember. So, like,
I don't know.
it's evolving.
Wow, wow. I'm sure you've broken everybody's brain. This is really, really good. Thank you for sharing your expertise and knowledge. Are there any last things you want to yell at anybody about? It's okay if not.
Um, it's okay if everything is not set up from the very beginning. You don't need to give yourself the pressure of trying to get everything perfect, but eventually It's going to be the cost of business to have a solid legal foundation. I think that at the bare minimum, contracts in writing, privacy policy, and trademark your smart.
Okay, if you have made it this far, you are probably heading on over to a PDF on your computer to polish your resume, and I want to stop you right there. This episode is just simply meant to expose and keep our businesses safe. It's not meant to push you out of this creatorhood or out of entrepreneurship. It is simply there to educate you on what you need to be doing so you can save your little booty later on. I also cannot recommend working with Alexis enough. I actually want to somehow make her like my resident lawyer for creators, because she is the only person I've ever come across on the internet who vouches for creators in this way. So, highly recommend connecting with her. Tell her I said hi. All her information will be in the show notes, and I can't thank her enough for sharing her many, many years of expertise with us here. So, with that, happy creating. Make sure to update your privacy policy, and I will see you soon. Bye!